Hey guys, it's me, Dr. Katz. Next up in our Audible blog series is called I Am So Over Being Productive. This whole pandemic has definitely been a test of strength, fear, ingenuity, and self direction. Ever since that fateful day in March when the governor issued the stay at home order, life has changed. I have to admit that initially I mentally greeted the stay at home order with a positive spirit and a can do attitude. I got creative at home. I spent more time with my kids. I told myself that having less patients meant more me time, that I could do as I pleased. I cleaned rooms. I organized, creating soothing spaces for each of my family members. I tried to read more. I tried to get each and every project that had been hanging over my head, sometimes for years. I spent more time with all of our pets, probably too much so for my dog's liking. I think they have not been on their recommended sleep schedule or nap schedule for like months. My overzealous attempts to lavish them with affection 24 hours a day and dress them in ridiculous outfits seem welcome on the surface, but I think they're just humoring me. They would really rather be getting their 15 plus hours of sleep a day, or they're just too tired to fight me over dress up time. I don't know which it is. I have a vegetable garden for the first time in years. I was always too afraid that I would mess up the over the top landscaping the previous owners put in. Now I've thrown caution to the wind and dared to add my own accents and a raised garden on our deck. This is all fine and good until I eventually get to return to a regular office schedule and then have to rely on my 16-year-old to water it. Once the back and forth conflicting executive orders stabilized, we were able to enjoy our quaint little cottage as well. And by little, I literally mean small, like 800 square feet. It's not a clever euphemism. It's our little patch of heaven. I literally find my mood magically transformed just by getting in the car to go there. I could be the biggest bee on the planet, and then I get in the car knowing I'm going to the cottage, and I'm like, ah. That's the special magic that it has. And despite the close quarters, I think we get along just a little bit better when we're there too. So, I mean, all these things sound great, right? And they are, but they don't paint the whole picture of pandemic life. The work side is crazy, but maybe not in the way that you would think. I'm either at the hospital 4 hours or 25 hours and everything in between. Between asymptomatic carriers and everyone else, we are potentially exposed every day without knowing it. We dutifully take all precautions daily. I take note of all the accolades for frontline workers and sing their praises also. But I think that people only think of frontline workers as those in the ER and the ICU, but truly, they're everywhere. We need to recognize that the front line is potentially everywhere. That's why we all need to do our part. I mean, please do not misunderstand. Clearly, those working with the sickest of patients deserve the lion's share of the praise. I get it. Those situations are by far the scariest. I just mean that all of us in healthcare or in any situation that deals with the public are facing risks also. The office is stressful, not just because of potential exposures. It's also stressful because of lack of activity. Arbitrary decisions by outside forces have attempted to render me non essential, therefore driving patients away from my practice. I can barely fill 2 days of office per week, but spend my days not in the office answering patient questions and offering reassurance. Spend a lot of time on social media trying to offer support and reaffirm my presence for patients and friends. I also try desperately to come up with that perfect ad that straddles the line between reassuring and tacky to remind people to please start utilizing my business when it's allowed. My goal is not only to survive this virus, but also the potential economic ruin that it leaves, or at least the government leaves, in its wake. I mean, I feel for every small business out there. I'm an independent business person as well. There's no hospital backing or unemployment for me to fall back on. I have one business at 0% since March, one at 20%. It won't be enough if we have to hold back much longer. And yet, some equipment lenders still want their blood from this turnip. It's as if threatening me will magically add some numbers to the zero in my bank account so that I can immediately give it to them. Go ahead, knock yourself out, I guess. I feel like a worldwide pandemic with a side of economic ruin is a legitimate excuse as any for not being able to pay all your bills right now. But who am I to say? I mean, that one has to rank pretty high up there, doesn't it? I didn't make it up. I'm not that creative. I get it. They want their money too. However, I feel like their millions and billions of dollars in potential resources just might allow them to hold out a bit longer than I can. I'm just saying. But you know what? I'm not ready to give up. On the contrary, I am ready to snap my fingers and have this all be over. I want my staff to be back in the office every day, but I can't blame them for enjoying their unemployment. And I can't blame them for not being cognizant of all the potential overdue projects spinning around in my head if I don't tell them. It's just that sometimes I run out of energy to keep fighting, to keep myself and everybody else motivated to keep going. I get tired of fending off everyone's misdirected frustrations. Sometimes the perceived uneven pressure seems fair. Sometimes I get resentful and childish and decide that no one understands like I do the full potential ramifications of this pandemic. This is ridiculous and egocentric thinking, of course. I know it, but I fall prey to it from time to time because I'm human. Those are the days that I find myself completely over it and absolutely done with coming up with new business survival ideas. Those are the days when I'm definitively uninterested in being productive or putting on a brave face. Those are the days when the weight of the entire world seems to be on my proverbial back. I feel the urge to pout or cry or yell or let the cork that is barely holding my emotions in go flying. Hopefully, somebody doesn't get hit in the face. Sometimes the tears just start coming and I can't stop them. Then, when it's just about too late, I stop and check myself. And I realize it is really no one's job but mine to worry about my business or my future. And it's unfair of me to even expect other people or employees to help carry the weight of all my worries. It just doesn't work that way. I just got to figure it out myself. And I will. This thing is not going to get me. Have a fantastic day, everybody.